This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. WFO. 3 days in a row of WFO. We had Reinhardt on Tuesday. We had Erica on Wednesday. And we've got Bob Tasca, the third, your funny car winner out there at the DENSO 4-Wide Vegas on Thursday. Let's not forget Flying Ryan. We did a 2-a-day on Tuesday. It has been great, but we're going to finish the WFO week right here, right now, and it's going to be great. Bob Tasca, driver of the Motorcraft Mustang, will be joining us just seconds from now. So if you're a fan of Bob or Funny Car or NHRA Camping World Drag Racing, sign on, share this show, put it out there for the entire world to watch, because we're not only going to talk funny car racing, but I want to get Bob's opinion on all things Ford. In particular, the Mustang, who just had a birthday the other day. How about that? First, though, I want to thank the people who make it possible for me to do this show. The show would genuinely, just like Bob on the racetrack, right? Without his sponsors, he wouldn't be on the racetrack. And he fought real hard to get the sponsors back, to go back racing, talking about Ford. Same with me. We got to have sponsors to keep this show going. And the people who are helping us out, making it happen, Total Seal Piston Rings. The leader in ring seal technology. There is a brand new episode right now waiting for you, but don't go right now. Wait till after the show. Hidden Horsepower, presented by Total Seal. Tony Bischoff, the horsepower king, legendary engine builder, revealing secrets, his biggest mistake of his career, all of that stuff on Hidden Horsepower. It's all education. Why piston rings are important to your engine. Go to TotalSeal.com to find out more, and you can get the podcast there. Also, great buddy Marvin Rodak, RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com. Exotic coffee from around the world, roasted fresh per your order. Marvin gets first right of refusal from a lot of these farms in far off distant places, like the Congo, Ethiopia, Colombia, etc. And Marvin can get you the freshest, best coffee in the world, literally. Go to his website, RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com, or call him. Old school, right? 817-924-6821. Hey, Marvin, I want some coffee. He'll hook it up. And I also recommend all the grilling tools and tips and hot sauces and spice rubs if you're into that kind of stuff, if you're into grilling like I am. Also, samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology, the next generation of racers, of crew chiefs, of machinists, of techs, going through Samtech right now. It could be you. Check out their website, samtech.edu. Brian Massengill down there in Houston, Texas, the family, Linda, and of course, Judson, who started the school doing great things for drag racing and motorsports and aerospace by educating young people right at the start. That's something we're going to talk with Bob Tasca about a little bit. And finally, Frank Hawley's drag racing school, Frank and Lana Hawley, doing such a great job, whether you want to get your top alcohol funny car license, sure. Whether you want to get your super comp, super gas license, absolutely. Or maybe you and your buddies want to go drive dragsters one afternoon, challenge each other to a race. Maybe you want to reward your best salespeople or clients with a great once-in-a-lifetime experience. It's the Dragster Adventure at frankhawley.com. Later on in the show, I'll tell you how to get a WFO radio face covering for just $10. Plus, I'll throw in a bunch of other stuff. But right now, we're going to bring on our funny car winner. I'm so excited that we got the winners back, Mr. Bob Tasca. What's up?
Joe, how you doing?
Great. Not as good as you, though. How are you?
Doing great. Great win for our team, and celebrate Mustang's birthday with a Wally and lead with the points lead. It doesn't get much better than that. I said to my team, I always wanted to win Vegas. Always wanted to win a 4-wide. I think a 4-wide is one of the most difficult races to win because you got to beat 3 people in the finals, not just one. And we were able to check both boxes in Las Vegas this past weekend. But that was yesterday. We're focused on Atlanta. We tested all day on Monday, got out to the track early, made some runs in the heat out there. And, just got a great team led by Mike and John, Mike Neff, John Schaefer. These guys at the top of the food chain in funny car. And, we're starting to flex our muscles a little bit, but we got a long road ahead of us and a whole lot of competition out there. So we're just going to stay focused on what we do.
Well, the season it's been a weird truncated start. First of all, Gainesville as the start, so push it back to March, and then we waited a month. But now, as you mentioned, we got the Southern Nationals, then we're going to head to 4-Wide Charlotte, then we're going to head to Houston. We're going to have a nice 3, not quite in a row, but within a tight schedule, and we'll know a whole lot. It's got to feel great to have proven yourself, and more importantly for the guys, right? Like that confidence that comes with winning.
Yeah, I've never won a race early in the year. Most of my wins came, mid to late in the year. And it's so great to get a win early in the year and get the momentum building, and particularly with the season as it's starting to ramp up now. And even more importantly than that, we got fans and, in the stands, where last year was a whole nother, set of circumstances. It just feels like things are getting back to normal. And, as a driver and team, I like rhythm. That's what I really didn't like about last year. We never really got into a rhythm. And now with the season picking up and, some back-to-back races coming up, I think it's going to be great to get back out there.
Oh, I totally agree. And before we focus on the round by round, we're going to watch the final. And I want to talk to you about some Mustang stuff too, since, we got a lot of just car guys. You don't have to be a diehard drag racer to love WFO. We all love cars, and we're going to dive into that. But first, since you did mention, last year and all of that, I can't think of people who know better than you. You experienced this deal personally, and you had to miss some races and all of that, but now you're back, you're winning again. Just, when you look back at this whole thing, how has it affected you, or what do you think? Or, just give us a little insight as someone who has experienced in a way that only certain people have. You have probably the most intense experience personally.
Yeah, no, I tell you, I'm the healthiest guy I know. And, this virus a year ago brought me to my knees. I spent 3 days in the hospital, very fortunate to have such great doctors and nurses that, kind of got me through it. But it really put it into perspective, just how serious this virus has been. And, ultimately it's cost so many people their lives. But I do believe, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I did get my first shot, which wasn't fun. There was 36 hours of COVID, but 36 hours is a lot better than 18 days. I got to get the second shot after Atlanta. But I think you start to feel things coming back to normal, and, hopefully everyone gets vaccinated and we can put this virus behind us and go back to doing all the things that we love and the way that we used to do them. Right. So, I think we're starting to see that out there in drag racing, more and more fans coming out as, states open up capacity limits. And that's why we're out there. I wouldn't race if there were no fans and that was the way it was going to be.
Right.
I just come back to the dealership and see the customers on the showroom floor. But, the fans are why we get out there. It's the passion that they show us at the tracks, on social media. And it's the only reason why that I race. So it's great to start to see things come back to normal. And I wish all those Mustang owners out there a happy birthday on behalf of Ford Motor Company. That was really cool to get a win on Mustang's birthday weekend.
I love your enthusiasm. Some people, to me, you're out of the car, you're talking about your dad, and you're like, yeah, my dad's been under the weather, but Mustang. And I had to laugh because I get it. I know how hard you worked. I remember standing with you in Vegas right before you're ready to announce. I think you were working the deal. And you were on the 1-inch line, right? Trying to punch it into the end zone. And you had this intensity about you bringing Ford back, using Camping World Drag Racing as a marketing tool, getting them back into the fight to sell Mustangs to people who love drag racing. And now to be in a role like that, you're working it for the Ford people. So I thought that was funny. We'll probably see that in a moment. But, perspective also. And I'm glad you said, when you said you had a little bit of a reaction to your vaccine, so did I. I had, congestion, and I was like, what is this? Is this it? I don't know. I think this is it. But let's see how it goes. 2 days, like you said, 36 hours. And then it was gone. And I feel better for it. So for you to say that, it makes me feel a little more normal about my situation.
Well, I can tell you, it's great to be back, feeling good. And, it was a big deal getting Ford back into racing. There's millions of Ford drag racing fans out there, and they communicated often with me, and Ford's got a lot of places where they can spend their money, and for them to give me an opportunity to bring Ford and Mustang back into the Camping World Drag Racing Series, just a few years ago. This is, I think, year 3 of being back, and I committed to win. I said to Ford we would win, and we would compete for a championship. There's no other reason why I would want to come back, and there's certainly no other reason why Ford's in the sport. They want a winning team, and we did that in 2019. We had a car that went to multiple semifinals in 2020. We just never really could get by those really close races, And then one thing that they did, and I said this to the leadership team that reached out to me in the win, is I thank Ford for keeping, my team together. And a lot of sponsors during 2020, we had to cut back and lay people off and, break the team up. And, then you got to get the team back together again, and you got to get everything ramped back up. Well, I didn't have to do that. All of my sponsors that supported me through, 2020 and into a real slow start of 2021, I kept everyone on the payroll. And these guys worked tirelessly over the winter, finding those thousandths of a second, which paid dividends in Gainesville, right? You saw that race against Hagan,
Yes.
0.0001 of a second. And then you saw how tight the racing is out there in Las Vegas. So, that we're reaping the rewards of keeping that team together. And I think you're going to see more of it to come. I mean, we got a team that's really gelled, got great leadership with Mike and John. And, I feel I've never been more confident in the seat driving. And that'll do that to a driver. When you got a car that runs as good as the car that we've had, it makes you a better driver. And I've always said, the driver in this sport, Joe, is 5% of the equation. At best, it's 95% team. It's the crew chiefs making the right call and ultimately putting us in a position to win, to hit the gas on time and get it to the finish line in the center of the groove. So, when you have a car like the one I have right now, it's a pleasure to drive. And, I can't wait to get to Atlanta.
Yeah, you can really mess it up for that other 95% though if you don't do your job right.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I said to Mike goes, we're going to test all day Monday. I said, what are we going to test? Glass cleaner? How we want to clean the car? I'm like, this car is so perfect. Let's not touch anything. And, Mike goes, no, there's a lot of things I want to get better on. So it just shows you the level of commitment that, Mike and John bring to this equation. And, they just never stop thinking. And this car, hopefully we can get it to get stronger and stronger as the season goes on.
We got a lot of people checking in from around the world, by the way. Ford fans, win on Sunday, sell on Monday.
Yeah, that's a quote my grandfather coined there a few years ago, and we're happy to be doing it again.
Yeah, Joe Waite says, congrats, Bob. Thanks for having him on, Joe. Listen, Bob won his way on today. That's part of WFO legacy. Like, you win your way on the show. Tom saying congratulations. Everybody saying congratulations. Tasca Ford fan from the Bill Lawton days when I was a kid, says Jim.
One of my first heroes, Billy Lawton. What an incredible guy. I remember going to the races with him as a kid, watching John Force run and Joe Amato and Bernstein and, all my heroes out there. But it's cool.
Mama Enders saying congratulations. Eric Olson, great Tasca win. Happy birthday, Mustang. You got a lot of fans. You had a fan base. You worked hard building a fan base, and then you were gone for a little bit. But I think they get excited when you win again. Let's focus in a little bit on your quads. And you ran caps every run, which I think is awesome. That's so four wide, right? Like, you ran caps every time. You and caps advanced over Jim Campbell and Bobby Bodie. I just want to shout out to Bobby Bodie, though, right? Because he's like college kid and he's got his friends in the dorm.
That's so
right?
awesome.
How awesome is that? Like, that's what
awesome.
we need.
Yeah,
we gotta have it.
Father, son, young kid there jumping in the frying pan and taking swings with all of us out there. That's what makes drag racing so special.
Absolutely. But you and Caps were able to advance, setting up a second quad of death. Like, if it was soccer and drag racing, I don't like to use that nomenclature so much, but because we are a very serious sport. But in like sports world, like, anytime you get a group of like champion, three-time champ Robert Height, champion J.R. Todd, champion Ron Capps, Bob Tasca, capable of winning races and championships, and maybe this year, who knows, but only two of you could advance, and you and Capps got through again, setting up the final round. Tell me a little bit about.
I'm going to tell you a little inside story there on quad two, okay? No one knows this except my guys. So I get in the car, haven't done this, Joe, maybe once in my career. I put my helmet on, and the car starts up, and I didn't put my earplugs in. And I can't tell you how distracting that is, how loud, piercing loud. I think one other time in my career, I didn't put my earplugs in, and it was probably 10 years ago. And I said to myself, oh my God, this is about to happen. Like, there's no turning back. It's not like I can get out of the car and put my earplugs in. But as a driver, we're so structured and focused on our routine. and I screwed up my routine, right? So it starts up, it's loud. It does a burnout. It's unbelievably piercing loud. And then you have to stage the car. It's 4 wide. It's a completely different sound sitting in the car right now. And then your brain is saying to you, you're about to hit the throttle and you may go deaf, right? Going down the racetrack. And, for me, that was one of the most challenging rounds. Like in the final round, I was like, oh, I got my earplugs in. Everything's going to be easy and I'll be able to concentrate. But, it really, it was really difficult for me to get through that second round, just to be able to cut a light, right? And to get the car down the racetrack. And my ears probably rang. It literally rang for 2 or 3 days. They're all right now. So, but once I got through that, I mean, like you said, I mean, you're running the best of the best, and then you go into the final round, and you're up against, Caps again, Wilkerson in the finals, and then you got Hagen out there in lane 1. I mean, that's why I said I think a 4 wide race is one of the most difficult races to win, because in that final round, it's stacked no matter who ends up there, and you got to beat three of the top cars in the country. And we were fortunate to have the package there that took us to the promised land there in the finals. But it's exciting, great competition, great racing. I made a comment on, I sent an email out to NHRA, look at the show we put on. One of the best racing surfaces in the country, Las Vegas. It's just so smooth. It's unbelievably smooth. And the track prep was awesome. I mean, you saw some of the best side-by-side racing all weekend long in all the quads. And it was just exciting to be able to get out of there with the trophy. You can see it behind me, Joe. I took it home.
Oh, there you go. Well, rightfully so. Let's take a second to watch the final round as seen on Fox Sports 1. Brian Lone's on the call, Tony, and Amanda Busick at the top end of the racetrack. Let's watch.
2016 Charlotte 4-wide event. The funny cars are locking in. Here we go. A brilliant race to the top end of the drag strip, and it's Bob Tasca the third. 3:93.8 and 0:57 reaction time, and they are going nuts in Cranston, Rhode Island. Matt Hagen, the runner-up here at 3:95.5. Tim Wilkerson, 3:92.2. Had the quickest car of the quad, but a 95 light sunk his battleship, and Ron Capps goes 3:97.8.
Well, and that's one of the things that Bob Tasca has been showing signs of. That's one of the reasons that I picked him to win. This is tough company. Capps, Wilkerson, Hagen, all of these cars locked down. You can see the raw fuel coming out of the Napa car. That spelled defeat for him. But most of the other cars were well in the race. But what really won it was the reaction time, the performance that Bob Tasca has had. Lost a lot of close races last year. Doesn't seem to want to be the victim this year.
Well, Bob, your family erupted in cheers at the starting line, including your father. You have now added a 4-wide victory to your resume. How special is that?
It's so special. My dad hasn't been out here in a long time. It's great to have him here. My wife, my kids, even brought the dog Oliver. But happy birthday to Mustang, 57 years. I'm so privileged to be able to drive the fastest and quickest Mustang on the planet. Ford, thank you, Mustang, and all those Mustang owners. Happy birthday. Yeah. Woo! I like that, boys.
How do you like that, boys?
It doesn't get any better than that. I mean, it's probably, for me, I'll tell you, when you go through the finish line and the win light comes on, you're sitting in the car and you know what's about to happen. But for me, I'm thinking about the starting line. One of the things that I look forward the most after a win is to watch the replay and watch how excited the team and your family gets, because those guys, they put in countless hours into this program, blood, sweat, and tears, driving across the country, and they put it all on the line. And when they give you a race car as good as the one I had this weekend, as a driver, you want to do everything in your power not to let them down. And when you get the win, to see that joy, that's what it's all about. And it was exciting to watch that. And all the Ford fans listening, whether you win or lose, they're there for you. They're supporting you. You're getting the text, the social media messages, and they want to win, right? We all want to win, and it's tough to win in NHRA drag. It's tough to win. And, you got so many great teams and drivers out there, and you always want to get a little element of luck, to help you along the way. We didn't get much luck on that race. That was just a throwdown race every round. But hey, listen, that's what we're out here doing, is winning for Ford and Mustang and the Mustang fans, and we're going to try to do it again.
All right, so let's talk a little Mustang for a moment, because you mentioned that I get to drive the quickest and fastest one, and that's like not an act, like something to just slip by. You drive the quickest and fastest Mustang there is. Ford's been experiencing a bit of a resurgence, and they're still committed. Just looking at the Cobra Jets over the years, of course, your dad, your family has been heavily involved. Your grandfather, the first guy with the idea, like, hey, man, we need to do this, and it happened, and Ford continues to do it. The Mustang fan base, 57 years, anything that lasts that long, anything in the world that lasts that long is doing a pretty good job. And it's been interesting to watch the evolution of this car.
There's no question. I sent Bill Ford a note. He sent me a wonderful note back. I mean, they really follow the sport of drag racing. And I said, Mustang has been and always will be a winner. I mean, that's what Mustang does, is win. You can't be 57 years old in this crazy marketplace of cars that come and go and not be a winner. And we see it here today in our showroom floors with so many exciting packages, from the GT500, the Mark 1. We got the all-new Mustang Mach-E, the electric Mustang, which is it's a huge winner. I know that there's some ultimate Mustang loyalists out there that are probably kicking me right now, but that's what's great about Mustang, right? It's passion. Where do you find that passion in any brand? And some people have said to me, well, how can you be an electric lover? You're a piston guy. I say, whoa, stop. I'm a performance guy. And I can tell you right now, electrification from a performance standpoint is as exhilarating as any internal combustion engine can be. So it's depending on how you tweak the knobs, whether it's a gas engine or an electric platform. So I can just tell you there's so much exciting stuff coming from Ford as it pertains to electrification. Mustang is certainly a part of that. You see the electric Cobra Jet out there. Don't quote me, but I'd be willing to put money. You're going to see a pretty exciting electric class coming down the pipeline with NHRA. It's inevitable. I got the chance to drive that electric Cobra Jet. It's the coolest thing, one of the coolest things I've ever taken down the racetrack. So I'm excited about the future with electrification. I don't look at it as an either or. They're both going to coexist for a very long time. But certainly electrification is a big part of our future, and Ford is really on the forefront of it.
I agree. I've seen you in the electric Cobra Jet. We stood outside of, I guess it was Jimmy Kimmel, as you guys were debuting this Mustang Mach-E. How cool was that? That feels like a million years ago, right? Standing, it was awesome. But I look at the Mach-E and the electrification and the 4-wide in a similar filter, which is something that's new and different, but some people are hesitant and reluctant. And I don't know if you're ever going to win everybody, but I think we're winning enough. And what does that Mach-E go, like 0 to 60 in 3.15 seconds or something? Like that's pretty.
I tell any doubter, just go drive. Just get in and drive. It's just so much fun to drive. The younger generation loves the technology. So I'm excited about it. Like I said, I'm a performance guy. I want to get behind the wheel of anything that performs. And when you start looking at electric platforms where we can control the power on each wheel individually, the center of gravity is very, very low. There's so many advantages that it has to compete, really to outcompete any gas protege that goes up against it. As this technology evolves, get ready. It's going to get a whole lot of fun to drive these electric vehicles.
But the sound that deafened you the other day, like we like that.
The sound, it's a lot quieter, but it's a cool sound because if Joe, you were at the race where I drove the electric Cobra Jet,
yes,
and we do straight cut gears instead of helio cut gears. So you get a very different whine and spool up. So it's not the piercing sound of a nitro funny car, but it's really cool. If you heard it in the pits, I mean, people lined up to see that car race and come out of the pits. So I think we can even have some fun with how it sounds.
I love it. Performance, whatever gets us the performance. Of course, I love nitro and I love internal combustion. And I believe there's always going to be a place for it at racetracks, but we can welcome this as well. And maybe as the future comes down the pike, every person, there are people that look at their cars as an appliance, like just transportation folks.
Yeah.
Maybe, different electrification is for them and we can continue to have our high horsepower Mustangs. Or maybe this Friday, I'm going to Homestead for pit road drag racing, right? Fast Lane Friday. And the electric cars kind of rule the roost there because they never spin the tires.
Yeah,
you
said something, there's internal combustion engines that are just what we call people movers, right? So,
right.
You see technology used in different ways. And, Ford is going to have a GT version of the Mustang Mach-E, which is unbelievable. I mean, it's gonna pin you back in the seat like most people have never felt. So, I'm excited about it. I think it's a great opportunity. I even think, Joe, from an affordability standpoint, as the battery technology comes around, that people that want to go out there and race, but yet everyone's racing within a budget, including me. Electrification, I think, is going to offer a very cost-effective way to go really, really fast and not have to spend a lot of money. That electric Cobra Jet that I drove, Ford has spent zero on the electric engines, nothing, zero. Now the battery technology, they've spent some money on, and that's going to evolve. But the truth is, there could be a real affordability play with this long term that could get more people into racing that aren't racing today.
As a bracket racer, I just wonder if there's some sort of program I can put in to make it run the same thing every single time. That's what I want. Can we do that?
You can get more consistent with an electric setup than you can with a gas setup. That I can assure you.
I know it. The weather. Everyone wants me to tell you this story. I got beat by an electric car bracket racing a couple of weeks ago in Palm Beach. And this guy's got a baby seat in the back, and I got an LS2 cold air intake tune. Like, I'm feeling good about my 1308 ET. And this guy's dialed 1147. And he's got his family there, and they blew my doors off, and he beat me in the bracket race. And I was like, the future is here.
Yeah, no credit. A lot of my electric buddies, they all want to race in Denver. Oh, we want to go to Denver because the air's thinner, right? You get less resistance going down the track, and you don't give up any power. So, hey, listen, any kind of performance I'm in at, and this electric stuff, the book is just starting to get written on it.
All right, let's talk about Atlanta before we let you go. Final Southern Nationals at Atlanta Dragway. There might be another Southern Nationals somewhere else, but Atlanta Dragway, a track with just a lot of history, a cool facility. It's a fun race to go to, and this is going to be our final time. I don't know how many last drag races you've gone to where as you walk in the gate, this is the last one of these.
Yeah, no, not many. Sorry to see Englishtown go over the years. But Atlanta, I've been racing at in my alcohol funny car, divisionals, nationals. It's the first race I went to the semifinals in. It's a special place to race. We don't ever like to see tracks go away, but I know there's a bunch more in the pipeline that are vying for that spot. So we'll be okay. But no, yeah, hey, listen, who doesn't want to put their name on the last Wally given away at an NHRA national event? We're going to go down there and we're going to swing as hard as we can swing to do just that.
There you go. Bob, thank you for spending some time with us on WFO Radio. Really appreciate it. This is your first time, I think, since we've gone live stream, Facebook and YouTube.
Cool. This is cool, Joe. I'm going to have to win a few more races so I can get back on and, talk to the cool guys like you.
Well, thank you for saying that, and I appreciate it. I love the fact that we've got direct feedback instantly from the audience. I think that changes it, and it's been great. The podcast is still going. And
I want to say a note there. I just saw someone pop up and said, "What about an electric funny car?" So I'm going to just tell you, Joe, that I have electric engineers at Ford that have looked me in the eye and said, "Tasca, we're going to outrun your funny car with an electric funny car one day." I said, well, hey, listen, I said, I'll drive it, but it's not there yet. It's not there yet. It's a few years off, but there's people that believe they will outrun us with an electric funny car.
And I think that that's a great challenge to put out there to them. If they can do it, like if there's a thing.
Let's go. I'm ready.
Right. But I doubt it. Like me, like that would be the thing that I just can't wrap my mind around. Bob, I can't wrap my mind.
Be retired. Hopefully I own the team still, Joe. But there's going to be a little while before electric funny car outruns us.
And if they can do it in like 10 years or something, you and I will sit back and have a beer and be like, how the heck did this happen?
Very good. Always a pleasure to be on with you, Joe, anytime, my friend.
Thank you, Bob. Have a great day. I'll see you next weekend. We'll be in Atlanta. Congratulations on your win. Way to start off strong. Keep up that momentum.
Thank you, Joe. Bye-bye.
There he goes. Thank you, Bob. Bob Tasca with us here on WFO Radio. Love Bob Tasca. And I think he's very good for the sport, obviously very good for Ford, and very interesting. And I always love to try to get a little information about what's going on at Ford because, frankly, the Mustang and the success that they've had with the car, it's just amazing. And I don't, and you see the couple of versions of the Mach 1 there, but I don't hate the idea of electrification. I know some people, the SUV look of it, but people like SUVs right now. And if you can have an SUV that has great performance and accelerates 0 to 60 in 3.14 or 1.5, if that's what it is, I'm definitely interested in watching it all play out. And you guys are making fun of me for losing to the electric car a couple of weeks back. That's fine. I can take it. But this Friday, I'm going to Homestead for Fastlane Friday, and I stand right on the starting line, and I watch big power cars come to the starting line and try to get off the starting line. And that's how you win an 8th mile race at Fastlane Friday. And the electric cars never turn the tire at all, ever, and under any point. They're like crawling down, figuring out how to use just exactly as much power. And they are not quite unbeatable, but they beat a lot of stuff. And so, the future is here. This is it. This is part of it. Is there always going to be a place for high horsepower combustion cars? I believe yes. Once upon a time, everybody had a horse, and all their horses were pulling buggies and doing stuff and doing work. Horses. Everybody had a workhorse. And then, they say the buggy whip guy, the guy had the best buggy whip in the world. And then all of a sudden the cars came around and the buggy whip was irrelevant. But horses never became irrelevant. Horses continued to be a fun thing. You can go riding in the wilderness. You can go jumping horses for fun. You can have thoroughbred horses that race. You can do a lot with horses. In fact, they're just primarily for enjoyment. And I really think that's what is going to happen. And for those of us that use combustion for enjoyment, it works. And if somebody wants to use an electric for enjoyment, well, that works too. We'll just have to see, because ultimately it's out of our control. The gears are turning on this one. Thanks to Bob for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. All right, everybody, put your comments in the comment section, and we'll get up on out of here and end a week of WFO like no other. We had Flying Ryan Ayler, who challenged me to a race, by the way, in Mustangs, incidentally. I don't know if you heard that, but Flying Ryan kind of surprised me, and he's like, I'm calling you out. And, of course, I accepted immediately. I'm your huckleberry. I am excited to race Flying Ryan at some point in the near future and go over there and pretend I have no idea what I'm doing and bounce into a couple of things like Mr. Magoo, and then hopefully go out and beat him. That's the plan. But then again, I just told everybody the plan, and so now they know. I'm like the bad guy in the movie that tells everybody the plan. They tell James Bond exactly what they're going to do every single time. It's a big mistake. All right, the people who make it possible. Couldn't do the show without Total Seal Piston Rings. Matt Hartford, and Matt and Amber Hartford. Like, we should do a podcast. Hey, we'll come on WFO. Let's do Hidden Horsepower podcast. And it has just taken off. The Tony Bischoff episode is up. Download it, listen to it, learn. The Ed Pink episode, Warren Johnson episodes, so many great engine builders. Speaking of combustion. Yeah, exactly. Like, I've got too much invested in combustion. I like it. So there you go. TotalSeal.com. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, Dragster Adventure, Funny Car License, Top Alcohol, Super Comp, Super Gas. Go to frankhawley.com. Samtech.edu. Right. Machinists, machining. It's not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. Sorry. What do you call them? People movers. Yeah, some electric people movers for people who just want to move and don't care about their car and what it looks like. That's one thing. But for people who care, not going anywhere. samtech.edu. This is my opinion, of course. And Marvin Rodak, 817-924-6821, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. Really appreciate everybody. Also, Nitro Fish Racing had somebody reach out about the 10th anniversary t-shirt yesterday. They couldn't find it. It's in the WFO store. There's a link to Nitro Fish Racing, and you can get there very easily. We got some other stuff in the WFO store as well. Plus, if you need a face covering, you know what? I mowed the lawn. I mow my own lawn, in case you wonder. I know what you're thinking. Like, man, Castello, why would you mow your own lawn? And for me, it's working the land, right? I live in suburbia. And so I've got a little tiny patch of grass, and I get out there and I work it, and I pretend like I'm, doing a barn raising or something. And I'm really just mowing the lawn. But I'm using my face covering. I'm repurposing my face covering as I have to use it less and less out there in the world for other things. Like maybe I shouldn't breathe in all the debris from mowing, right? What am I wearing? WFO face covering. So for $10, you can get a WFO radio face covering, some stickers. I'll throw in a WFO patch. It's in the store, $10. You can do it. Pay on PayPal. Super easy. But if you want the 10th anniversary shirt, you got to go to Nitro Fish, because that is a rare one. 10th anniversary t-shirt with me on the back. Put your comments in the comments section. We'll get rolling, and then we'll get up on out of here. What a week it has been. Erica Enders was awesome yesterday. If you didn't see that, it's on our website. All the shows are on our website. Audio, video, podcasts, they're all on the website. Go to WFOradio.com. Let's see. Joe says, Frank Hawley needs to get Jack Beckman back on board. I want to connect with Jack Beckman because, first of all, Jack is a great guy, number one. But I don't know, man. I think Jack's doing pretty well as the elevator guy. Every guy that I know that was an elevator guy is doing pretty well. So, but we got to reconnect with Jack Beckman. The day that happens, don't miss the show. Monica says, have a great weekend. Hey, Monica, the Patreons, patreon.com/WFO radio. It was your idea to have a yearly membership. It now exists. Your dream has come. It's not a dream. Your idea has become a reality. Patreon.com/WFO radio if you want to support the show. And we got all kinds of good stuff getting ready to, we got our, Patreon supporter pins, and we got patches, and we got all kinds of stuff. And the WFO Patreons get first access whenever we come up with cool new stuff, right? That's the way it works. Like if you're a diehard Patreon supporter, you get first access whenever we come up with new stuff. She says, yay. Joe says, we love Jack. He's become a great friend to us. Jack Beckman is, far as I can tell, a wonderful human being. Dale says, already texted Ryan, your plan. Ha. Hey, man, you're supposed to be on my side here, Dale. What's up? Let's see. Because it's consistent traction in the power band. Power band? Is there even a power band? Like, I don't know. How long is the extension cord? All the jokes. Everybody knows it. Stand on the starting line. Fast Lane Friday. A traction limited situation. That's it. Paul Wunderlich, who is a South Florida drag racing legend, good friend. He's hired by the Speedway Homestead we're talking about 10, 12 years ago to be the guy that kind of manages Fast Lane Friday. Lane master, starter, he does it all. And we got one concrete lane, and we have one asphalt lane. And so the concrete lane, he'll put a little traction compound down, and guys will do a burnout, and they'll come up and they try to get down the racetrack. And they do. We have a lot of people that get down the racetrack. But what's amazing is seeing the all-wheel drive technology, mostly European, some Japanese, come up against just huge high horsepower cars, talking about Hellcats and drag packs and just big high horsepower cars, vets. And the high horsepower cars will typically go on the concrete lane where there's some traction compound down, and the all-wheel drive cars will go to the asphalt lane where nobody can get down. And the all-wheel drive cars beat the high horsepower cars with the all-wheel drive. So my eyes have been opened to all-wheel drive technology and how amazing it is in limited traction situations. Duh, right? But nothing drives it home until you stand there and you watch it. Like, oh, okay. And then the one day where they rolled in with a bunch of electric cars, and it was like a little, like a biker gang, like the Black Widows rolling in, except they weren't on Harleys. They were Teslas. And here they come, and they're telling me dual motor, and I don't know what they mean. Like, what do they mean? Like, well, I don't know what this is. And they're staging up against high horsepower cars and beating them. And they're staging up against all-wheel drive cars and beating them. It's like, what's going on with these cars? and it's just instant torque, and they never spin the tires. Maybe in a quarter-mile race, the high horsepower cars would have got around, but in an eighth-mile race, these electric cars, they're practically unbeatable. And of course, everybody referencing the time that I got beat by the Tesla. I'd play the video right now, but I took it down. Let's see. Formula E, like watching an RC car race. I agree. Except since you watched your first Formula E, Amanda Music knows a lot about Formula E. She works in the Formula E broadcast from time to time when she's not with us on the NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series tour. And so I have asked Amanda as many questions as I can about these electric cars. It's evolving. That's all. It's evolving. Like the first time you watched Formula E, I know you laughed like, oh, come on. These cars are going real slow. Certainly they look slow. But if you watch a couple of years later, they look less slow and they're actually moving quicker. Remember when they could like switch cars and, your battery wouldn't last the whole race? Now they do. I just try to not be against anything new. I try to embrace everything new. I try to be an early adopter as often as I can, like with crazy stuff like doing a podcast. Used to be you had to have a person employ you to get your voice out there to thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. No longer. Now you just have to have a good idea, and you embrace it. Once upon a time, people said podcasts were just kids in their garage talking into, a can. Now everybody's got a podcast. Like this live stream stuff. Last year, searching around, not that I was the first with StreamYard, but I feel like I was the first, one of the first be doing this. Certainly Privateer. Why? Because you can't be afraid to try stuff that's new. You can't be afraid. You got to try it. And you got to make your decision. And that's true with everything. It's true with food. It's true with movies and shows and things. Like, I don't think I'm going to like it, but let me try it anyway, just to prove the point. Yeah, I hate it. And just because you hate it now doesn't mean you're going to hate it down the road. So if Bob is right, and there's an electric class that comes up, comp eliminators say, and they put the electrics and it's like electric super modified or something, super modified electric. I don't know. Just making up stuff now. And 4 electric cars come rolling out. Think about what Big Daddy Don Garlitz told us a few weeks ago. Garlitz, this is Garlitz. Who's burned more nitro than Garlitz? Right? And he's intrigued by it. It's worth advancing technology. It's worth it. But at the same time, there's nothing like the sound of nitro. And I don't think that's ever going away. And there's nothing like the sound of a Pro Stock engine. Up at 10,500 RPM, not going to happen. You're not going to replace it. Comp eliminator motor, like Mike Crutchfield, 298 cubic inch or something. Small blocks screaming down there running 850s. What's he, 11,000 RPM? Who knows? Like, that's amazing. And that's why we love it. But it's not all going that way. There's always going to be room. There's going to be room, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? All right. Final thoughts, final comments. Bob Cole. Plenty of room for all kinds of cars at events. Exactly. In the rivalry. And when those guys bring out some sort of electric funny car for Bob to drive, let's see it. Let's see what happens. And if it goes to the 1,000-foot, 365, who's not going to like it? But then again, it's very similar to the 4-wide. I don't see how anybody could not want to watch. Like, you might not like it as much as you like 2-wide drag racing. I like 2-wide drag racing better than 4-wide drag racing. I like 2-wide drag racing better by far, but I still think 4-wide is pretty cool, and I will watch and I will enjoy what it is. I like a big tomahawk ribeye steak the best. That's what I like the best. But every once in a while, I'll have a filet or a strip. Why? Because I like to mix it up a little bit every once in a while. Now, that's up to you. Simple as that. Let's see, Joe. Joe says, we will always need fuel and gas engines. Absolutely. Otherwise, I'll have to change my nickname from Nitro Joe. I think you're going to be okay. Change from Duracell to Energizer batteries. Well, you see how they're marketing their stuff. Their batteries make their toys go faster. Let's see. How would they super modify an electric car? The program, that's the thing about that Cobra Jet 1400 that Bob drove, that the guys, put together in Comp Eliminator. Comp Eliminator racers did it. And they, the way that the electricity is transferred around, the cables, that type of metal that in the cables, like, I don't know, man, I'm not an electrical engineer, but that's the thing. There are things that can be done and are being done. Plenty of cars. Let's see. RC, a comment reminded me about the RC track at Hollywood. I love RC racing. We had a Tesla show up at Bandamere. It ran 1150, four-wheel drive SUV. So the Tesla runs the same at Bandamere as it does in Palm Beach. Exactly. Random question. Do you ever think we will see SE hybrid technology in Pro Stock? I think it would be interesting for the OEM. I don't know. No, I don't. I think Pro Stock has evolved to what it is and will stay what it is, which is a driver category. Pro Stock. What is Pro Stock? It's naturally aspirated. That's number one. It's naturally aspirated horsepower, or normally aspirated, however you choose to say it. Naturally aspirated horsepower. And number two, it's leaving with a clutch, shifting gears. Driver is critical. Obviously, horsepower comes with the naturally aspirated thing. And also managing every horsepower you have and figuring out how to use it. Like, to me, that is what Pro Stock has evolved into. It is a very strong category. Once again, we always have more cars than can qualify at every race this year and last year, maybe even in 2019. And it's an opportunity for the driver to go out and really mix it up in a way that they matter. Like Bob said, the driver is 5%. And if that's true in Nitro, which I think it's more, but maybe not. Like, if I'm tuning Bob's car, Bob never wins, never. No matter how good he is, you have to have all the pieces in place. And then Bob can go out there and maybe win, or maybe not. In Pro Stock, the driver, you could have the best crew chief in the world, and the driver has got to be on point. Like, perfect. I think Alex Laughlin said it the best. They're not the hardest cars to drive. They're the hardest cars to drive well. There's something for everybody, folks. Simple as that. So no, I don't think we're ever going to see some sort of electric hybrid technology in Pro Stock. I do like electric hybrid technology. I check out Formula One for that. As you know, there's going to be a Formula One race right by the WFO studios in 22. Check out the Ignition Show if you want to hear about that. You ever think we'll ever have an all-wheel drive electric funny car? No. But isn't that what was cool about back in the day, like TV Tommy and the 4 engines and the all-wheel drive, and like let's try something. Yeah, we're not trying that. We are not trying that. But I mean, you can try it. That's what Funny Car Chaos is for now. And that Funny Car Chaos, brought to you by RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com, at least their A main, is exactly that. I saw a story. Brian Wagner from Dragzine did a story on a, what was it? Twin turbocharged, I think it was an LS, but I don't know exactly. A twin turbocharged funny car. Guy's got a funny car chassis, and he's got this twin turbocharged engine, and he puts it together, and he goes out and runs Funny Car Chaos. It's a funny car, right? So you want to run an electric funny car, and you want to run against Del Worsham, there you go. There's room for creativity. That's not what we do. NHRA Camping World Drag Racing is the big show. The big show. Highest level, Major League, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL, whatever. The highest pinnacle, the peak. It's the cup of drag racing. And people are all competing under the same rules, trying to find the most performance and be the best team. Last weekend, the Motorcraft team was the best team. And I know a lot of guys on there. A lot of the team put together originally by Eric Lane, which I did not talk to Bob about because, I know how he feels about that. I know how he feels. All right, let's see. Final comment. Thanks for the feed, Joe. Thanks for talking to us. You're the best. Not the best, but I'm okay. I love you guys too, man. I love coming on here, doing it live, but now we're done. What am I going to do? I'm going to go out and try to fix the window on my GTO and see if I can get that thing finished and buttoned up. And so we'll see. It's been a great week. Thanks to Flying Ryan Ayler and Alan Reinhart and Erica Enders and Bob Tasca. They won their way on the show. This is what WFO Radio is all about. We are a podcast, so please subscribe. Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, Spotify. Go to the website, WFOradio.com. All kinds of good stuff up there, all kinds of new stuff up there. Every show is up there. The YouTube channel, subscribe, click the bell. It's great stuff. And I am super excited. Next week, we're going to try to get Steve Torrance on the show. And he got his first win in Atlanta. So we're going to talk to him about going to Atlanta. And I'll be in Atlanta, and I'll be in Charlotte, and I'll be in Houston. That's what I know so far. So if you are in the area, plan on coming out, shouting out WFO. Plus, we got some new gear up on the site real soon. You can get some free stickers. You can get a face covering. It's going to be really good. All right, everybody. Really appreciate all you folks out there. We're working on it, baby. We're working on it. We're getting there. Sooner rather than later. And all you fans of WFO, really appreciate all of you. Facebook feed, share it. YouTube, share it. And if you got a friend that has never heard of the show, like, I don't know what that is, put them on to it. Tell them what's up. Let them know. Because that's how we grow. That's how this experience that is WFO Radio continues on. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. We'll see you next time. Thanks to Bob Tasca for joining us on the show. Thanks to everybody this week. We'll see you next time. Enjoy your weekend. WFO.